Hey, Andy, have fun in your video club with your friends. See you later.
Hello, everybody. We're live here, live in Tampa, Florida, and we're so excited because we're talking one of my favorite slasher films of all time, Sleepaway Camp. You guys have had a week to watch. We have some special guests here to talk about it, and we're going to dive into this one deep. We're going to camp. I'll walk so hard on this. It's not even be funny, and I wish I had brought my short shorts. I didn't, but we're going to talk about those too. So I hope you guys have watched the film. If you haven't, go watch the film. Come back and watch it another time because we're going to break it down. This is a crazy movie, but we have some special guests to join us. Before in studio, let me show you who's with me. Adon, slide over because now you're in my shot because you, there we go. Adon's here as always. Hey, Adon.
Hey, good to be
Flip
here.
your mic on. There we go. Now everyone's mic's on. There we go.
go.
Adon, welcome, man.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Always nice to have you.
I'll share the light with you.
This was a fun one. We announced this last week as a choice, and I'm glad we did because it was fun to revisit.
I never
Over
watched
here,
it.
you had never seen it?
I knew about it. I just never watched it.
Oh, I'm glad you got to see it. Over to my right. Well, let's go over here first. Over to my right, we got. Well, where did your titles go? Oh no, I'm on the. There it is. You guys are reversed. Oh well. Josh should have been sitting there. Mike should have been there. So don't be confused. But Josh, Joshua, Josh, give me my awesome tattoo. Hey, Josh.
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for the tats. They're awesome. I dig it.
You're welcome.
He did my kid, and I got Batman, guys. Woo! Replaced a mistake, and you fixed it. Thank you, man. Josh, you're and next to you, we got Mike. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Mike Perez. Now, people may not know, but Mike is working on a documentary about Sleepaway Camp called Angela. Right. Can people still give? Is there still a way to help?
Yeah, actually there is. You can actually pre-order it, just the Blu-ray itself, off the website. But I'm also going to do another Indiegogo to do the back-end crowdfunding.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Cool. That's badass, man. I'm glad to hear it. When do we get to see it?
It's going to be released. It's scheduled for late next year.
Okay, late next year. All right, so soon.
I'm shooting for Halloween.
Nice. Yeah. Next year. All right, awesome. And do you have a lot of people lined up? Are we allowed to share?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's in it?
Everyone from 1 through 3, with the exceptions of those who have passed away and yet to announce Pamela Springsteen.
Ooh, yeah, nice. We got her.
No, we don't have her yet.
Oh, you've yet. That's the only one you're working on.
That's we're working on. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's Bruce's sister, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So it makes it a little harder. Is she sort of not? Does she not like this part 2?
That's something we don't know yet. So obviously, I'm hoping that will come out in the making of, the documentary of why she's, a little standoffish towards it.
Somebody out there interview Bruce for Mike's documentary and ask him what he thinks of his sister being in Sleepaway Camp too. That would be good, right? I want to watch that. All right. Well, you obviously will have some insight for us, audience who've watched. We'll be able to talk about it too. This was a deeper cut. I'll be interested to see who actually took the assignment and watch it, because if you did, you're in for a treat. But if you took it, you're going to be even more amazed with my special guest on the line. Oh my gosh, I am so happy to have her. Are you there, special guest? You have to unclick the mute. Hopefully you unclick the mute.
Yes.
There she is. Yes. Woo! Katherine Kamhi is here. Meg, M-E-G herself. Meg, how are you doing?
I am good, and don't forget the name, M-E-G.
So awesome. Oh, this is a treat for me. I have so many questions. I can't wait to hear. We have someone who was actually in the movie who could give us some real insight. So thank you for joining us, Katherine. Let's start with you. So you, Meg, that is a fun role. You get to sort of really play the mean counselor, the jealous girl. Like, was this just a dream to play? Do you remember it well? How was it?
Absolutely. It was a complete dream to play. I was doing a soap opera at the time, All My Children, and I was playing a little bit of a, sort of bitchy character there, but this was just 10 times what I was playing. So it was just great to dig into, just completely go for it.
Yeah, so you really give it to Angela quite a few times in the movie, and we'll go through as we get breakdown, and I want to go through the film. I have the film here live with us. We'll go through and share our favorite parts. But I'm curious, what was it, what was your favorite part overall? Like, just what is your biggest memory from that set?
Well, probably one of my favorite parts was picking her up and throwing her in the lake.
Yeah.
Definitely something I'd never done before and haven't done since. So I love any kind of physical stuff you can do with your acting is always interesting and a challenge. So we had to do quite a few takes of that. So it was definitely.
Was it actually Angela you threw in, or was there like a stunt kid?
No, I threw her in. I did pick her up and throw her in, and sweetest girl in the world. So hard to be mean to her, but yeah.
Yeah, she was. So, and then my overall question I'm going to ask is, the weirdest thing for me in this movie was the ages of the kids. It's just so haphazard all over the place. I can't tell if they're teens, if they're actually underage, and then there seem to be in certain cabins adult kids in there somehow. What was the casting process like? Did you were over 18? I imagine at that time, right? What can you share about sort of that insight?
Yeah, I had just turned 18, so I had just turned 18. I mean, I think a lot of the kids were kids. So I certainly know Felissa was, who played Angela, and Ricky, and I think he was a teenager, and Chris. So a lot of the kids were kids. A lot of the counselors kind of up in the air. We had a range there, but I definitely was 18 years old. So I was about the age I should be.
Were you guys sort of confused when you were shooting, like who's a counselor and who's a kid?
Yeah, a little bit sometimes. Yeah, I kind of just all confused all around because we were only given pieces of the script. I sort of didn't really understand. I didn't know the ending at the time, so just kind of thought, I'm just doing a horror film, regular one.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that ending for sure. But as I'm playing some clips and as you're talking, do you remember the short shorts?
Oh, definitely the short shorts.
Oh, the short
definitely.
Who did you have a crush on anybody in short shorts?
Well,
everybody.
Mel. It was always Mel.
Always Mel.
I feel like there's like a whole entire section of that movie that was deleted with just balls everywhere.
Oh, probably.
I feel like there's balls everywhere.
They're like, cut, your balls are hanging out.
I mean, who did wardrobe? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I just remember I brought a lot of clothes with me. I feel like a lot of the stuff I wore was mine.
Yeah, I've been told by multiple people that they pretty much, aside from the actual like logoed T-shirts from the camp, everyone pretty much brought their own wardrobe.
So basically, everybody, all the guys had their own midriff shirts.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Sure they might have. I don't know. Was that the time?
That's
Catherine?
not even a shirt. That's a halter top.
Yeah,
it's like a
yeah. Not to date you, Meg was in that time. Was that? Do you remember? Was that like? Is that the era of what people were wearing? Were guys wearing that back then?
I think so. I mean, I feel like the '80s kind of was.
I have some questionable pictures.
Yeah, I mean, you were there too, Josh. I was there. I was a little younger, but you were there, Josh. Was that what we were wearing?
I have some pictures of me as a kid wearing some.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I look at that and I feel like that's definitely like late '70s.
Yeah.
But it feels late '70s, but it was '82.
But it was
when they shot it, right?
Yeah.
What surprises me though is that nobody's wearing cowboy boots and those outfits because that was a big thing in the '80s too.
That was absolutely, and I wore them. I remember I wore them all the time. I have red cowboy boots. I still have them.
Yeah. All right. So this the wardrobe is a huge part of this movie, at least for certain guys. Everyone else sort of fine, but let's go back. I want to sort of do a chronological order on the movie. Let's revisit our favorite parts, but let's go to the beginning. We obviously the film starts with closed down camp, which is nice, but then we have the big boating scene. So you weren't there for any of this, obviously. So did you know any of this beforehand, or you got to see this when you saw it in the theater?
Yeah, had no idea. Just saw it when I saw the theater.
So the big twist at the end, which we're obviously implying here even in the beginning, you didn't know. They didn't tell any of you, the cast members that.
No, I think the only one they told was Angela.
Okay, so that's because I was curious. But so all right, so we have here in the beginning with John, very hairy John, sitting in the boat with his two kids, and perhaps the worst boating driving I've ever seen on film. It's just a very fun. It's like Titanic, where it's like they could have easily both fit on the door.
Correct.
They could have easily turned the boat.
Yeah.
This has the best part of the movie. Though,
yeah, but
the part with the guy with the reaction.
The kids aren't moving. He's not moving. The boat's not moving. No one's looking. They're going to shore. You'd think just the peripheral vision would see the shoreline approaching, but it sort of really sets the tone for what you're in for, which I love. Not to knock it. But then the boat seemingly jumps over it. And who is this actress? She gives a fantastic role.
I don't know who that is, and I cannot track her down.
Oh wow! So she's been hard to track.
Yeah, some of these, a lot of these folks, with the exception of the few, have only done this movie.
Oh, interesting. So that makes it harder for you to like feel. How do we get their interviews?
Right, because once they get married, or maybe that was not their correct name, they're hard to track down.
And some of them may not want to be known for this movie, I guess.
You'd
think
honestly,
they would.
I've had a lot of that with the documentaries that I've done in my past, where people just flip out on me for getting a hold of them. But on this one in particular, they're shocked, but they're extremely excited.
Yeah.
I mean, hugely
You'd
excited.
think. You're like, oh, wow, that weird, crappy movie I thought was going to be nowhere is actually like a cult classic?
When I got a hold of the fellow that plays Mozart, I mean, he did that movie, and then now he's a college professor teaching. It has something to do with comic books. I couldn't tell you his exact title, but
poor Mozart.
He was so thrilled that I found him through his college email, and he was like, I don't know what you're doing, but of course I'll be a part of it. He was,
so cool.
and he's like, I'll fly myself out to LA for the interview.
Wow.
So
That's
he
awesome.
he was totally stoked about it.
Oh, man, I have questions about Mozart, so you'll be able to enlighten us. But, sorry, so here we go, and everyone's favorite line, John. But yes, this boating scene is just ridiculous. But ridiculous in the best way. So, Catherine, when you see this, that may happen again, so I apologize in advance. I'm such a fan of Meg. But Catherine, when you see this movie, let's say you're sitting in the theater, you're watching the movie, and this scene happens. Did you have any regrets when it started?
No, not at all. I knew I was in for a ride after that. I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, because this is my favorite kind of movie. It's silly, but at the same time, it's dramatic. They're owning it. They're keeping it real. It doesn't hold up in the view because this is silly. But there's such a backstory that they're brewing.
It definitely never gets boring.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the opening,
Never.
guys? Don, Josh, did you have any feelings?
It's crazy.
So I have to ask, was this movie more intended to be when it was filmed as a serious film going through, or
That's a good
did they
question.
know it was going to be appealing to that humor?
I mean, you could argue that on a lot of slasher films from the genre, right? In the day,
but this
they're
is
scary.
pretty early on
and
into
then
the
later on,
slashers.
they sort of grow. But the intent was to be serious. You've
I
interviewed,
think so.
right?
I think so, because when I auditioned, everyone was very serious in the room.
Right.
Very serious.
I got
So
into
I
horror
don't think-
movies
Yeah.
very young, and I think this movie would have terrified me as a kid.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, it's super
So
creepy.
yeah, it still has the scary factor.
It's it's a product of its time, right? Where it just doesn't hold the effects and things just feel dated, and so it's harder
Yeah.
to take as seriously.
I think the effects are actually pretty good on this movie.
Yeah, the practical effects, the killings
Yeah.
and stuff, I agree. All right, so the boating scene's pretty crazy, and then we get to the crazy aunt. Oh my God, we can't miss this with Aunt Martha. That's when we know we're in for really the boating scene, followed by 8 years later with Aunt Martha in the
Yep.
stairwell. This performance, is she still with us? Have you interviewed her?
She is Desiree Gold. No, she's going to be in the New York section of the interviews.
Wow. So I'm looking forward to what's a question you're looking forward to asking her?
Honestly, I mean, when you make a documentary, everything's so basic. You basically go in there with 5 questions, and then you feed off of what they've said. But I mean, everyone has told me so much about her, and that she's kind of like that. And so I'm really totally interested to know, is she really going to be like this when I interview her? Is she just going to be that nuts?
Like grope your hand, like your face. with
Right,
your
yeah,
hand.
exactly. Right, yeah, exactly, yeah. So I don't know, Catherine,
Like,
you know her better than I do. Have you seen her since the movie?
No, never again. I think we saw her at the opening, and then that was it. And I didn't
Okay.
I never worked with her, so I didn't really know her.
Huh.
I just
Huh. Fascinating.
that's the best theatrical acting though in the whole movie.
Oh,
she's
she's bringing
intense.
it.
She's intense,
Insanity.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pure insanity.
And
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear what she says. What were the choices? Did she know? Oh, I'm just gonna chew this crazy and enjoy the hell out of it,
Right.
Or is that just her? Either way, it's cool.
No, 100%. I mean, and the thing is like you said, it's pure insanity. And she even, her character even says it when they're talking about the physicals. And she's like, well, good thing she's a doctor.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
she forged, Angela's, physical. And, so you already know, some batshit crazy stuff's going to happen.
Yeah. So.
Oh, wait, can I swear?
Yeah.
that's
it's-
okay.
I feel like it's a scene right out of Willy Wonka, or
Yes.
something. That scene, that.
Totally.
There's definitely
Totally.
there was
I felt like that she would
some
have
sort of
ad-libbed-
hallucinogenic going on there.
she may have ad-libbed some of that parts.
Yep.
I
Sorry, I was making your mic. Good.
Yeah.
You were
No.
feeling ad-libs?
If she did, then she's, I think.
Even more of a genius than we
Right,
were.
yeah, I would think so, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just that whole Richard.
Was she like a well-known... Angela. Was she like a theater actress? Do we know her background? I meant to look more up.
She had to have some theater training.
I'll have to look. But anyway, but fantastic role. It sets the tone. Did anybody see this coming? Now, this is our first sort of taste and test of the spoiler ending, which now we're going to spoil. If you haven't watched this movie, you should have watched it. I warned you, but we got to spoil it. The whole, obviously, Angela being the boy that's lost in the beginning. Did anyone sort of pick that up when they first viewed it? Or was
Never.
that genuinely surprising for you guys? I'm curious all the way around. And then even for you, Catherine, when you said, when did you learn the ending? When you saw it?
I don't ever remember knowing the ending till I saw the movie.
So you were shocked.
Yeah, totally.
So when you were filming, you were like, you kept asking, well, who's the killer, and they didn't tell you?
I think I actually knew she was the killer. I knew she was the killer, but I didn't know she was a boy.
Got
but
it.
I absolutely knew she was the killer.
Oh, no,
That
they
I knew, but-
Shyamalan'd that. They Shyamalan'd it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Don, did you see it coming when you watched it for the first time?
I actually knew about the ending twist.
So it was ruined. That happens for a lot of people, yeah.
But throughout the entire film, I was looking for cues to see what would lead me to believe that. And the only thing was the very beginning when they were talking about the physicals. But other than that, there was nothing that would hint that she's a boy that I could really pick out. Other than she's like, I'm avoiding the showers and I'm avoiding all those other things.
Right.
But that could have been anything.
What about you guys?
I saw this movie accidentally. I didn't even watch horror till I was 16. So my mother would not allow it. So this was an accidental viewing with my sister.
Oh, your mother must have been so happy.
She didn't know. But I didn't get it. To me, I was just like, oh, it's a boy. I guess when you're that young, you just don't understand those things. So I honestly, I never formed.
So you didn't see it coming because you saw it young.
I didn't
Josh?
see this one for quite some time till later. It was one that just slipped through the cracks for me, but I had no idea. I went into it knowing nothing about the movie, nothing at all. Other than I just heard the title so many times before, and it was a pleasant surprise. I was just like, man, this is one of those.
Yeah, I didn't.
Good times.
I knew people told me to watch it, but I didn't know the ending either. So they do enough wacky stuff, and there's enough something's going on with Angela clearly. But I think they wisely made it such a weird what at the end that it's sort of impossible to see it coming.
The funny thing is like Catherine, I've showed people this who have not seen this movie. Yeah. And one of our mutual friends, Miss Tuesday Night from Elm Street 4, she had never saw this. So I showed it, and she was so disturbed. She was so angry with me to show her this movie. She punched the chair. She was so upset. She had to get that anger out. So she punched her lazy boy chair, and she was like, "Why would you show me a movie like this?" And I said, "Well, because you are reacting exactly how they want you to."
Yeah.
She was so upset, and so she couldn't stop thinking about Felissa's face and the jaw opening thing. She was freaked out for I don't know how long.
I want to talk all about that because that's fat, but that specific shot. But yes, and the commenters are saying nope, didn't know, general shock and surprise. So that's interesting that people managed to sort of pull it off. I think it's just such a weird out of nowhere twist that it does make sense that they pulled it off. All right, so we have that. So that we meet Aunt Martha, the craziness, and then we finally get into the camp, sort of for the first time. It's perfect 80s camp scenes. This movie sort of, I think, does it the best. But I love have you seen Judy yet? You'll know when you see her.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So many amazing scenes here that sort of just set the tone for what they are. And you got to give Felicia credit too for Angela. She really does play
Did we skip over the?
There it is.
Did we skip over the chicken?
No, that's what I was going to next.
Okay, I was like, we can't.
We can't skip the chicken. Oh, did I skip? Oh, sorry, I had the chicken ready. Yeah. So then, but yes, one of a scene you'd never get away with in today's never get away with it in today's society for good reasons, I guess.
I can't even believe they got away with it then.
But here it is. Let's watch the chickens as we're getting ready. Hold on. Queuing up my favorite chef in a movie ever. Ben.
Look at all that young, fresh chicken. Where I come from, we call them baldies.
Oh.
Makes your mouth water, don't it?
Oh.
They're too young to even understand what's on your mind.
I mean, can you imagine that in a movie today? What kind of reaction that would get?
Oh God.
Well, people will be applauding. But
People would be picketing with their
No, I'm talking
pigs and pitchforks.
I'm talking about afterwards. What happens?
Yeah, they're definitely villainizing.
Oh no,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, he gets what
He gets what he deserves. But man, it just shows you we're watching a movie from the era, which exactly they don't. Not that they're not endorsing it. He's clearly a villain in the movie, so it's like
Young, fresh chicken.
I don't know. It's like that's a scary, realistic villain in a camp movie. So they should have things like that.
At the time, Jerry Lee Lewis was still married to his cousin, correct? Like,
Yeah.
wasn't that
That's
right? At this time this movie was made. So yeah, that was the
I
world.
just realized something. He's the only one that was attacked by her that survives.
It's true.
Right,
He
yeah.
well, we don't know if his eyes made it.
Yeah.
We still won't know about the eyes. All right, so the chickens is an iconic scene I want to make sure we go through. Get a load of Judy, of course. And then we everything sort of comes into place. We meet our characters. And I'm just basically fast-forwarding to our first kill as we obviously set the tone for the camp. Ronnie's shorts are the best. what was it?
Ronnie.
Yeah,
He's
what
just
was
a
it like
beefcake.
working with Ronnie?
Beefcake.
What's Ronnie's real name?
He's a doll. He's a doll. Absolute doll.
His real name? Do we?
It's
Paul D'Angelo.
Paul, that's right.
D'Angelo,
Thank you. I love Paul. He's probably my favorite part of the movie. He's just sort of the nice heart of the movie. But man, those shorts were incredible. Was that on purpose? He just was showing off the muscle. Do you remember, Catherine?
I feel like he liked that look a lot. He liked to show off his body.
He's pointing
Clearly
at something
worked
the whole
very hard
movie.
on it.
That's all-
Yeah,
I mean,
that's all
there's
I
no
can say.
leg.
He's pointing at something. The whole movie.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I mean, it's practically underwear. Like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you look at it, looks like
Those are
briefs.
borderline Speedos.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And it's just such a weird thing to wear around kids at a camp. But
What I noticed too is like, are any of them wearing underwear? That's what I want. I wonder, is anybody in this movie actually wearing underwear?
Catherine.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. There's a lot on the cutting room floor. Is all I'm saying.
but yes, the campers are all. It's still very odd. So Judy's a camper, even though she's clearly an adult. And that was sort of the only weird thing about the fact that Angela's in the bunk with all these older
Right.
young women.
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense, but you sort of are hoping the audience just forgives and moves on. But was that ever brought up on set? Were you ever like, this doesn't make sense? Why are all my bunk mates older than? Did anything was that ever addressed, Catherine?
I don't think we verbally addressed it, but it was definitely a thought in all of our heads. Like, okay, why is she in there with all these older girls? But who knows? Yeah, just go with it.
Yeah, and it was a sort of a choice. Like, did she need to actually be 14? Is also the question I wonder. Was there?
No, it was written.
It was written.
She was 13 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then was Judy written as 13? Because they didn't cast a 13-year-old for Judy because they needed her to have big boobs, right?
Yeah. Judy was a little older, so, but not much, right? I don't think she was much older.
I was just trying to get curious of the directing, not to judge. I'm just trying to understand, because it was just a little confusing. But at the same time, it is what it is. All right, so go ahead.
Yeah.
I thought like Meg and Judy were supposed to be like really good friends. Like
It seemed
and-
like
We
that.
were.
Yeah.
and like they knew each other. Oh, camp kind of good. Like,
Almost. Yeah. It did seem like that. Like your characters knew each other for a long time.
Totally.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we were
I hope.
definitely-
Or, I'm sorry. I hope that Judy was older, considering what happens to her, and if that was written into it, that crosses a whole new line I hadn't thought about before.
Yeah.
Very true.
Is that really James Earl Jones' father?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, someone said in the comments. I didn't
Yeah,
realize
that's
it.
James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben,
Yeah.
The chef.
Listen to his voice. Come on, it's
Wow,
Vader.
that makes him. I love him even more now.
Robert Earl Jones.
Yeah,
Wow. Thank you.
He passed away just
John, for the comment.
not really that long. Like it was a handful of years ago, but he lived long.
wow.
And
Very long
he's
life.
done a lot too.
Yeah. No, it's a.
Fresh chicken.
I didn't.
I want to say he passed away in
Where I come from, we call
2004,
them Baldies.
if I believe, or
remember.
2006. It might have been.
Marty,
I thought it was
too young
before
to even
that.
understand
He was like
what's
90
on your mind.
something.
Yeah, it's totally James Earl Jones' voice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Good pull. All right, well, I didn't notice that. Thank you for that tip. All right, so moving on to the first kill. Angela's weird in camp, doesn't talk to anybody, and then we get the creepy. Sorry, what's his name? Artie. That's right.
Did we pass up? Oh, we missed it, didn't we? We did pass it up. We passed up my favorite, or one of my
Quick, what is
actual
it?
favorite line. The girls mature faster than boys. That's bullshit.
Yeah, good line.
Great. I love that.
So then we have Artie clearly showing he's the creep that we thought he might be, which happened quicker than I thought would happen in the movie. But man, this is gross and honestly scary. It makes the film more serious and terrifying that he's in the closet with her, thinking he's going to get away with this, implying maybe he's done it to other people.
Oh yeah, he wastes no time.
But yeah, this is a creepy scene, especially knowing she's actually 13. But the scene where Rick walks in.
What are you doing?
Sort of justifies the kill, but then getting into my favorite. I think this is my favorite kill in the movie.
No, I agree.
Is anyone going to challenge me that this isn't the best kill in the movie?
I believe that's the best one.
Mike?
I mean, honestly, like, he gets what he deserves, but honestly, you know,
it's the biggest pot I've ever seen.
very true. Yeah, like very
I
true.
think like a couple of us could get inside the pot.
But in a sense, like, you know,
and why doesn't he just
you
jump
think it's
down?
like the see, yeah, you think you
He
can
had
like
so
push
many
himself, you know, off, but yeah.
You could have killed me. I'm on a step that clearly I could just jump off of, and I push back, but I won't because I might fall in this pot that's not at all going to move.
I love the fact that you can I love the kill. I love the practical effects aren't bad either. They're just like cheesy enough to where they're funny, but they're still like kind of realistic. And I love the fact that you can see the tube a little bit.
Yeah, near the end.
Just peeks through enough to give you that like, you know, that cheese rate.
Right, of course.
Yeah, I'm still confused. Like, what's happening? He's just standing on a chair, holding the shelf because he's gonna fall back.
No, because they shook the chair before.
Yeah.
And he lost his balance.
Okay, so he's off on his balance, which they didn't really show because the chair's flat, and then she off balances the chair, which then why would he grab the bowl? It doesn't make any damn sense, but I love it. And then this amazing burn effect, which looks fantastic. And then my favorite Ben reaction is this.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, coming in his underwear. Look at this.
The cut back is the best.
Yeah, is that the best shot?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, that's gross.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Ben. He just doesn't know what to do. He's kind of like, I guess he sort of deserves this. Should I help somebody? He gets a raise though, so he's happy. And we move on. And then, so my other favorite scene is then him wrapped as a mummy, just being pushed out.
Oh, please.
And we quickly learn that
No need to upset the campers, right?
we don't need to upset the campus, right?
Well, I guess I'll be on my way.
Why am I blanking on our boss's name?
Now we get this
Mel?
ambulance out
Mel,
of here
thank
as
you.
quickly as we can.
We get Meg's boyfriend Mel.
Because I don't want the kids or their
My
parents
babe.
to want this ever happen. You understand?
Can we pause that for a second?
Yes.
I have to ask. I totally missed it if they hinted at it beforehand, but did they show any inclination, like anything between her and Megan?
Well, I was going to get there,
Mel?
but sure, let's go there. Now that we've met Mel, was there any backstory between you two? Was there any other sort of history that we missed, Catherine, to sort of allude to that sooner?
I think there might have been. There was a couple of flirtatious little looks and meetings, and I think I'm not sure exactly where it took place in the movie, but there definitely was a little flirtation when I said to him. I think there was a scene where Meg says to him, you know, that she was going to come over or something.
No, that I saw that
Was
at
that
the
later?
end. Yeah.
No, but was there any other previous hanky-panky going on, do you feel like, between Meg and Mel? Or was this like the beginning of it?
Yeah, I think there was. I think that was the intent. I think there definitely was maybe a previous year or something, and now that she's older, she's going for it.
Did you when you got hired for the role and then you met the cast and you met him, did you just think to yourself, gross?
Not gross, but just like a little shocked. I was like, because my character on the soap was having an affair with her college professor, and he was in his 40s, so I had to stretch a little more. This is maybe a little bit older, but I had to try to justify it in my head. I'm like, okay, it is. That's it. I can't find a reason. It just is. Power, you know?
He reminds me of Mr. Burns.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
He's
Yeah.
kind of like
Cheap.
Mr. Burns.
He's like a cheap Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
But yeah, here let's go to your scene since we're talking about it in question. Here's Meg asking Mel out.
Boy, are you lucky.
You ain't kidding. I could sure use a night off.
You and the rest of us.
I'll see you later, okay?
All right, well here we are. You're going. It's a hot old Mel.
Guess who has the night off tonight?
Well, congratulations.
Listen, I was thinking. Remember that dinner you promised me up at your place?
Oh wow.
When did that happen?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
9:30.
You got it. See you then.
Ooh, she's excited.
He's shocked.
Not.
He didn't even see that coming himself.
Right? He's like, I still got it.
How was that? You kill it, Catherine. Good work.
Pencil.
I totally bought your attraction to him.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Any comments on that? I mean, before we wrap that thread up.
Well, I think, those lips of Mel's just, that was it. She had to have them.
Oh yeah.
There are some delicious old lips.
Yeah.
Who is this actor? This is I should have done.
I have so many names in my head.
I know.
Mike Kellen.
Mike
Michael,
Kellen,
thank you.
yes.
I was just about to look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does it. He's really great in the movie. I have to give him props. He plays the old gruff
No, he's
sheet
great.
manager really well. But it was a surprise to me.
He's been around. He's like, if you look him up, he's done a lot of incredible work before that.
But
a lot of movies.
You sold me. Of the biggest twist, obviously at the end with Angela, but I would say Meg, you have the film's second biggest twist that you pulled off. So congrats.
Woohoo!
Yeah, it's good. I want to actually. Here we go. I didn't mean to fast forward, but let's meet the introduction to Meg in the bunk because I do love that scene since we have you here. Here we go. I'm going
That's
back.
bullshit and you know it.
Vicky, I don't have time for your nonsense right now.
Here it comes.
Well,
All right.
excuse me.
He's the lacrosse champion of '82. Oh, good.
Nice.
Here we go. All right, so we're walking into the bunk. For those that missed it, let's rewind it and watch it. Here it comes.
All right, ladies, let's hurry it up and unpack so we can get these trunks the hell out of here. By the way, for those of you who don't know, the name is Meg. M-E-G. This here is Susie. If you got any problems, this is the complaint department. Got it? Okay? Capiche?
This is the weirdest
Typical
bunk.
girl, like just dumping everything out on the bed, right?
So now, can you help clarify, Catherine? Is everyone else a camper except for you and Susie?
Yeah.
So everyone's a camper except for... Okay, so you and Susie are the counselors of this troop of these
Correct.
5 girls?
That bunk, yeah.
And then did you have other campers under your tutelage, or was it just these 5 girls?
I think she must have been a counselor to other girls, but those were sort of, I think, maybe her special ones. I don't know.
Interesting, but so it was like 2 counselors to 5 girls per bunk.
Yeah,
That's pretty impressive.
I think she was introducing herself to all the bunks, of who she was.
Okay, so she wasn't
know her
there.
by now. I think, she was going in and just introducing
that
herself.
helps.
Did you ever ask why, like ask Robert why, since he wrote it?
Yeah.
You would have to spell out your name.
It was just something he wanted me to do, even in the audition.
Okay.
That was just something he said, I want you to spell the name out.
So that wasn't added in later because it almost looks like it was an insert almost because it immediately goes to you saying M-E-G.
Yeah, I think that's the way it was cut. But no, he always wanted me to do it every take. He said, spell the name out. And then he told me to add capiche too.
I
So
mean,
just improvise, add things.
Clearly, since he wrote this and,
Drawing a line
did he
in the
just think
sand.
like kids were like idiots and like they just wouldn't know how to spell Meg?
Yeah, no, I think it was just her. She was just a bitch.
I think it was
so
the
she was
intimidation factor.
right. Okay, so she was just starting off as the bully right away.
Totally. Yeah, from the minute I auditioned, when I came in and had to do an improv scene of being a drill sergeant, that's all. There was no
Right,
script.
that's what they said you were going to be initially, right?
Kick
A
ass
drill
and chew
sergeant,
bubble
yeah.
gum, all out of bubble gum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you always have to have one good counselor and one bad counselor. It's like a yin
Exactly.
yang. So I guess that's their balance. Because the other one, no one remembers her.
And the funny thing is because talking to these cast members, and when we break it into reality, and so you have Susie and you have Meg, and everyone's like, Meg was the bitch. But in reality, she was the sweetest person. But Susie, on the other hand, was the complete opposite from what I'm told.
Susie did raise hands. She slapped that one girl.
Right, I mean in real life.
Oh, sorry.
Really?
Yeah, everyone said that she was pretty mean.
I don't have a recollection.
We have a caller.
Sorry. Yeah, we did have a caller. I'm trying to sneak in as we're talking because I Did it work? Hello? Special caller, are you there? You were the first one here. Join Hangout. Hello? Did it work? Oh, we're trying to do this live and I didn't. Join. Sorry, this is worth it, guys. This will be good. Join Hangout. Invite. Hello? Hello? Anybody with me? Hold on. Let me. This isn't on camera, right?
No.
So tell us an interesting story, Mike, while I do this.
So yeah, going back to it, like, you know, it's funny because you get the inside scoop on all these actors, and you know, and you really get like the sense of, you know, like how the family, you know, it was like a family on set, and you know, everyone said they had their arguments, they had their, you know, quarrels with everyone, but you know, for the most part, everyone had such a great time, and I guess you can, you know, talk about that a little more.
Yeah, totally.
Hello?
I mean, I don't remember.
Oh, sorry. Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, we have a special caller. Hello. We have Felicia. Angela is on the phone as well. Hello.
How are you?
Oh my God, I can't see. Are you? Your camera is on. Or do we not want to see? Turn off your camera if you don't want to see. Otherwise,
How are you?
I'm so good. Thanks for calling in.
What's going on?
We were here with Catherine. We're talking about Catherine's here with us, talking Meg. Were we watching the movie with everybody?
Hi, Meg.
Are you there, Catherine? Can you hear
Yes.
Felicia? Sorry, my mic's
No, I can't hear Felissa. Felissa,
Felicia.
are you there?
Felissa, can you hear her?
Yeah, I can't hear her.
Oh, so weird. They're not letting you guys hear each other. That's frustrating.
Aw, that's okay.
Did you invite in? It should be in the Hangout. Hold on one second. I'm going to try. Mike is telling us a quick story as I one troubleshoot.
I'll just go on with the reason I decided to do the Sleepaway Camp doc is because I had covered so many major franchises already, from the Never Sleep Again doc, the Crystal Lake Memories doc, and More Brains, and I covered Scream, and I've done the big franchises. So at this point, you know, I had to choose something that was really close to me, and when I got older, I developed a special love for Sleepaway Camp, and then I've known Felissa for, I don't know, 13 years now, and we've grown very close, and, you know, so it's like, why not? And, you know, why not work with those who you love? And so it kind of, I just called her and said, guess what? I'm doing a Sleepaway Camp doc, and she's like, I'm on it. She goes, let's do it. And then, of course, at the same time is when we got a hold of Catherine, and, you know, and everyone got to reunite, not only just for the doc, but they got to reunite in person about a year ago for the first time in like 37 years.
Yep.
And so that's what I love about the most. It's not only do you get the story, but you also get to bring people together. And I think that's what docs do anyways.
Well, I'm trying to invite you both to the same call. Did you get that invite?
Yeah, do you want me to accept that?
Accept that invite, and then that should get us both in the same place. Can you... Oh, there we go. Felissa, you there? I can hear you. Felissa, was that you? Did the invite work? Sorry, I'm technical worth it.
Can you hear me still?
Yes, are you there? Okay, yes. Catherine, I got you. Accept the invite, and we should be good. Accept the invite. Or I can just call her. You want to just call her on the phone? Is that easier if her connection's bad? All right, we have... Okay, so you're in here. Catherine, you're there, yes?
Catherine?
Or Felissa, are you there? Someone was here.
Wait, I hear something.
Here we go. I'm back.
Oh, Felissa.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Catherine's
There's
there.
Catherine.
And let me invite... Why? Felissa was there, and then we lost her.
Technology.
Catherine's here.
Foiled again.
What the... Felissa, there we go. Let me add her. And one more time. Invite to this. So you can hear me, Catherine?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. You clicked the invite to the Google Hangout with the group chat?
Let me see.
You were just there.
I don't think so.
All right, here was what I was going to try and do. Here we go.
Old
Let's
school.
just go old school.
Oh, old school.
I'm not going to... Hello? Yes, now we can... How about this? I'll just do audio on my speakerphone. Is that cool? Now you should be able to hear us, and I'll try and get it so you can hear through my speaker. But now, all right, so Katherine, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, awesome. Now I got Katherine, who played Meg, and we have Felissa, who played Angela, live on the show. Hey, Felissa, hello.
Yay.
How are you?
Good. Can you guys hear in the headphones?
I can hear
Okay,
it, yeah.
cool. And then here, I'm going to try and put her. Can you hear her, Katherine?
Yep, I can hear her. Hi, Felissa.
Hi.
Hi.
This is
Oh, we got
awesome.
it. All right, so it looks a
That's
little
awesome.
looks a little
Technique.
wanky while I'm with my headphones, but we're gonna do it. All right, so Felissa, while I have you here for a bit, welcome to the show. Thank you for calling in. I want to obviously have so many questions about Angela, and we've been talking about Meg and Katherine's roles, but I wanted to ask you first out the gate. What was your, when you got this script? I know I've read some stuff about it. Your mom was there the whole time. You were 13 at the time. What was your sort of takeaway when you showed up to take this movie? Can you share sort of your just overall experience of joining the Sleepaway Camp family?
I mean, it was kind of a natural situation. I met with Robert Hiltzik at the first audition, and I loved him right away. I felt very comfortable and safe with him. And once I read the script, it seemed like it was a really fun movie. It was kids going to camp, and the ending certainly was something unique, something we hadn't seen before. So I was all in, and I had a wonderful experience. It was terrific. I was 13 years old going to Sleepaway Camp.
Did you know the ending?
Yes, of course, yeah.
So your parents knew the ending first, I imagine, and then they sort of allowed the project, and then they sort of filled you. Like, what did they tell you at that age? Like, what did you know going in? Just, hey, you're actually the boy. Like, what was the sort of story behind that?
Well, at the callback, they discussed with both my mom and myself the nature of the film, and that it was a horror movie, and at the very end, it turns out the character I'm playing is not a girl. She's actually a boy, and it's revealed. And they were, at that time, trying to figure out how they would show that discovery. They weren't quite sure if they were going to mold something to put on me, or they were going to make a mask of my face. So it was sort of in the works at the time with Ed French, our special effects artist. So it was sort of ambiguous. We really didn't know, but it still sounded all wonderful because we loved Robert Hiltzik. We loved his then girlfriend, now wife, Michelle Tatosian, who's the producer. And then I read the script right after that, probably a couple of days later, and it read really well. Like, it was a well thought out film with a crazy ending.
So let's go straight to the ending, because I've been alluding to it a lot, but I want to get to that ending, and I want to get everybody's thoughts. And we've talked about it with Katherine and in my panel here. All of us were sort of surprised going into this ending, but let's talk about it. So when you shot this ending, you had there was like a crazy mask thing they built of your prosthetic face, correct?
Yes, they made a mold of my face. It was sort of like a very, very thin mask that they could put on the boy. And he was not happy. He was a teenager. He was about 18, and I think he was going to Albany State. And so they found him in the area.
Yeah,
they were kind of scouting the area, looking for someone who would do this big reveal. And certainly at that time, I guess in 1982, $250 sounded great to this kid. And he stood there and did the ending scene. And I was there only because I had to do the close-ups, and I had to shoot the scene with Paul, at the lake, and the whole ending was shot in one night. But I didn't see him, and I certainly didn't see, the full frontal. They got rid of me prior to filming that.
I heard that he had to get drunk. So I heard a rumor that he had to get drunk to do it, and then he was crying while they were filming it.
They gave him a bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had also heard something.
He cried and was terribly upset because they had to shave his whole body, and they had to shave
So that's
his
true
body
then.
because he had to look like me in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't. My husband is here chiming in saying, I don't know, he looked like he had a hairy chest.
I heard that you weren't allowed to use your hands too. That you weren't. I don't know if that's true. That I'd heard that they wouldn't.
Yeah, that's true.
You weren't allowed to use your hands.
Well, I mean, we were under a Screen Actors Guild contract, so there are certainly stipulations with what you can do with children. And
Okay,
so
that makes
between
sense.
that kind of a contract, and also my hands are pretty small and kind of feminine, so Robert felt like that would immediately give it away that it was me. But Jonathan, he had small hands, but they were a little bit more masculine, so they seemed to fit the bill. So Jonathan, who played Ricky,
Yeah,
was
that's what I
the
heard.
Actual, yeah,
So they used all his hands for all the kill scenes.
they used his hands. Yep.
Interesting. So, and then that reveal happens. Like, how that? I mean, that movie clearly is stuck with you for. I don't want to show it on YouTube. Yeah,
Such an image.
We kind of want to show the final image. But how is that sort of role and that image and that character sort of was there any phase where you sort of regretted it as you aged? Or did you always sort of embrace it? Was there sort of a rebellious era where you're like, why did I do that weird movie? Like, I'm just curious sort of as you went on in your career. I mean, I know you love it now, but was there any sort of like back and forth in your mind of, oh man, that was kind of weird? What was your sort of thinking as it sort of blew up?
You know, it's funny. I'm listening to you ask the question, and I feel like the nature of who I am in life is I probably just, and Mike and Katherine can both attest to this, I just kind of jumped into things, and I'm just kind of a little bit on the carefree side. So I really never gave it any thought other than I've always loved it. I loved it when I made it. I loved it when it came out. I love it now. It was the type. I liken it to having children. You know, it's just I treat it like it's a baby of mine. Very fortunate to be a part of it and grateful for it. And as maybe cheesy as people have said, or things that have been maybe not in the positive way about this movie, I still am crazy about it because it's a part of my youth and my.
If it didn't have the cheese factor, it wouldn't hold up as well.
Yeah, the cheese factor has.
That's what gives it the classic
Do
horror element.
you share that sentiment, Katherine? Overall, like you were in it since day one and sort of proud of it still to in this day as well.
You know what? It's a little different for me because I kind of forgot about it and didn't really think too much about it and sort of was in a different bubble for a while. And I mean, I had heard about the conventions and stuff, but I didn't really think a lot about it. I had no idea what happened to it till a year ago. And when Mike reached out to me and, told me what was sort of going on with it, and then I did my first convention and could not believe how it had taken off. I had no clue. And now, of course, a year after meeting people who've seen the movie and everything, I feel the same way. I just am in love with it, and I have new appreciation and so grateful I was a part of it. So grateful.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you both feel the way. It's always fascinating. Some actors who do these sort of horror films that have cult status, but even I particularly, when I was asking the question for you, Felissa, it was just like the iconic shot at the end is sort of now become sort of your trademark, right? It's sort of like people. I'm sure you get asked all the time, like, do the face. Does that, I assume you like that too. Like, how does that, how have you grown into that?
Again, I embrace it. I love everything about it. And I actually said I will be very sad the day that people don't ask me to make that face. It's something that I, appreciate and I'm very thankful for. And I say Sleepaway Camp has given me a life. I mean, I married someone who was like the biggest fan, so I have a family because of it.
That's adorable.
I live in the genre and have, I act and produce these films, so I feel grateful to be in the genre because of Sleepaway Camp, my start. And it's just the kind of thing that I have a lot of gratitude towards.
And what you don't know is when she's not talking, she's making the face right now.
That's what she does. I would too. Who wouldn't?
When you can't hear me speaking, I'm making the face. In my house, when I'm driving.
When she's cooking dinner, she just makes the face.
I haven't bought it yet, but there's a light switch
the
cover
light switch cover,
on
yeah.
Instagram. I've been wanting to order it so bad.
Oh wow, the Angela light switch cover, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, it is iconic. It's such a.
They probably have it at the convention.
It's such a. As we were saying, Felissa, as you join us later, but yeah, it is sort of a really shocking, crazy movie. But that it holds up in its 80s cheesiness, obviously, and that there's some cheesy stuff that's just, I think contemporary fans might laugh at, but I love, and it was really creepy. And there were moments that you just can't do in horror films today. We were talking about the scene where just it's sort of really gross, but the already talking about the chickens as you guys are walking in. And it's like stuff you wouldn't be able to see in movies today, but really makes it creepier and more disturbing of a film in horror films. You're a horror film fan. Like, do you feel like both of you, but let's start with you, Felissa. Does Sleepaway Camp like a film you could make today, or do you think that's sort of the appeal of why it's holding up and people still, react to it so strongly?
I think Sleepaway Camp is one of the films that can absolutely be made today because the social issues that we were dealing with in '82 were so far ahead of its time that we're actually now catching up to it. So bullying aspect and our gender identification, these are very topical, right now, very relevant. So it's a movie that would be actually super amazing to see come to life on screen again, because we're living these all of the elements that were part of Sleepaway Camp.
Yep, I agree completely.
I'd love to see how it can be made today, and hopefully we will see this.
Felissa, speaking of it being made today, with the original movie, you have the pedophile, you have your typical bullies, and there's the camp slut and everything, meaning Karen. If it were made today, what do you think would be the big what would make the villain aside from the killer? You know what I mean? Like instead of a child Artie being a child molester, what kind of if it were remade, what would the scenarios be in your opinion? On today's topics.
You mean the reasons why she would choose to kill?
The bullying I think would be great, but it might be cyberbullying. It could be more contemporary. I've said this before. I feel like we should really explore the character of Aunt Martha. I think she's someone who I'd love to know her entire backstory and her sexuality and where she comes from. I think that could be certainly something very interesting in a remake. And was Ricky involved? So there are a lot of little aspects and pockets that were not sort of elaborated on in 82, and I think that's how a new reboot could possibly come about.
That does bring up a very good question for me. I remember the scene where they show the father with the other man. I forget his name.
John with in the bed, the secret love affair.
The secret love affair, and for some reason I thought, was that the aunt? Did he transition too?
Oh, I never considered that.
Because how did she?
I've heard someone question that before.
Have not been talked about. Who's Lenny? Who's John? Who's Aunt Martha? I thought the big reveal should be who Aunt Martha is, because there's a lot of speculation on her, sexuality and gender and whatnot.
Can you actually we were asking about that. Is the actress who played her Aunt Martha? Is that how she is? Was she giving a theatrical performance? I love that role. What was it like filming with her?
No, she's very sweet. She's very kind. She was not as dramatic as Aunt Martha appears. But Robert certainly kept asking her to go bigger and bigger. And I know my reaction was, oh, this is fun. And Jonathan's reaction was, oh, my God, horrible. What are we doing right now? He speaks very candidly about feeling as though it felt like we were in, a high school play, or, it was just too weird for him, the whole Aunt Martha being, so dramatic. But Robert wanted her to be that way because, truthfully, she's the monster in the movie.
Right. So I want to ask the biggest question. A lot of people, as in, can this movie last today? With now trans topics being very front of mind for a lot of people, could someone see this film as transphobic? Is this idea of sort of the film of the trans kid turns into a villain? They're using it sort of as an ending. Does anyone on the panel, anybody here, any weight to that, or do you think the opposite, which I do? I'm just curious overall, sort of in today's current trends.
Is she actually? Would that be considered trans though? Because she's been created to be that way,
right?
Without
only in the sense of a sequel, I guess. Would Angela be considered a transsexual? To be honest, crossdresser, maybe,
Yeah.
but not trans because she's technically
Still
just
a
a
boy.
boy.
Fair. It's right. So yes, I mean, as for how Angela, I mean, what do you think? How would Angela identify as? Have you considered that, Felissa, at all? Like, what does she?
Certainly, we've definitely broken this down quite a bit with several people who are interested in the LGBTQ community. I feel as though the real issue with Angela had all to do with how severely bullied she was. And that's where the revenge came from. So it's a great revenge story. The other side of the story, which is way more interesting to me, is her figuring out as a young person coming up in adolescence, her gender identification and her own sexuality coming from, her father, seeing her father with his lover. So there was a lot of trying to figure all of that out, especially when she was dating Paul for a few minutes in the movie. But that side had nothing to do with why she turned into the killer that she was.
Even
That was because Keith was so
even the
awesome.
end scene's not really explained, which was something I that's a question I have, is the end scene, the last death where the reveal comes out and everything. Now, that character was getting a little rapey in the beginning anyway, with the I'm not doing nothing. No, I'm just unbuttoning your shirt.
Yeah.
Is that why Angela's naked at the end? Was there some hanky panky that she wasn't down with, and he and that's where that ends up? That's a question. There's a lot of different questions.
Well,
there.
the thing I thought too is this movie is actually very strong on consent, because it sort of shows that it's not, you got to ask for it, and Angela says no, and then Angela murders the guys who won't say no at times. So I implore that. The question I'm seeing some of the comments oh, it's just a silly twist, don't make it political. But I don't buy that. I imagine the director, the twist meant something to him, right? I mean, it wasn't just made to be oh, we're just going to do a silly twist at the end. There was more to it, right? Do you, either Katherine or Felissa, do you have sort of background on what was he going for with that twist? Do either of you know?
Go ahead, Felissa.
Catherine,
Right up your alley.
do you know?
You're both, I guess you can't hear Katherine, Felissa. She says go ahead. She doesn't know either. So it sounds like neither of you talked to him about sort of that.
This is the great, the joy of having an interview is the discussion, but I think the greater, more interesting and elaborate we can get will be in the Angela documentary, because the truth will come from Robert Hiltzik, our writer and director. Certainly we can speculate and we can talk all we want about what we think. I believe there's, it's a movie. I don't know that he intended for it to be something incredibly deep, where maybe it has been discussed, but I don't really know. I mean, he's told me I wrote a beginning, I wrote an ending, and then I always joke, and you put a baseball scene in the middle. So I'd love
a very
to
long
hear
baseball
in the
scene.
documentary, right? We have that great 10-minute baseball scene. But I think that's really for Robert to explain in the documentary, and I think that's going to be, something wonderful that we will learn through Mikey's amazing, direction.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, Mike, keep us looped. We're excited to see anything you want to say, Mike.
We're every day we're confirming more interviews, and we are announcing more and more people that are joining the rest of the cast and the crew from the films, the original and the sequels, and that just keep an eye out and watch mine, Felissa, and Catherine's postings, because that's where you're going to find the most up-to-date information.
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, no, of course. We'll put all the links down below. As we wrap things up, since I have both Meg and Angela here, let's talk about Meg's kill scene. Were you there at all, Felissa, for that scene, or was that Meg with the stunt hands?
I was not there. Unfortunately, I know Catherine was, and I'll let her explain it. She wasn't feeling well that night, and I was probably in night school. We were shooting nights, and I had to go to school during the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Catherine, what was it like for you getting killed by... so you didn't even know, Catherine, you didn't even know that Angela was killing you at that time, right?
Well, no, I knew it was her. I just didn't know the twist for the ending. But I knew it was her. I knew she was the killer. I just didn't know the twist.
Got it. You thought it was actually Angela killing versus
Right,
Angela as a boy. Got it.
Totally. But I was, as Melissa said, I was quite sick when we filmed that, and my mom actually came down because I didn't know how I was going to get through it. I had at least 102 fever and chills, and you have to get in a shower, and it was not easy because I had to lie for about 3 hours on my stomach while they did the makeup scar on my back in sort of a cold area, and I just went to sleep. That was the only way to get through it, and then shooting it was very technical. He would yell out, "Look right, look left, the knife is going down," because of course there was nothing going down my back at that time. So it was very technical and difficult to do, but also challenging and wonderful. Never done anything like it before or since.
I do have a question because and I'm not asking it in a creepy way. I'm just curious because the genre movies of those decade, you typically would have been super naked all over the place.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of that in this movie. Was that like a conscious choice? Was that a discussion that was had? Do you have any insight on that?
Oh yeah, no, it was a discussion. There was no nudity clause in my contract, and my agent just kept telling me, make sure you have a half bathing suit on. I had a half bathing suit. Either I brought it or they gave it to me, and there were a few times when you could see it and they wanted to lower it a little bit more. And I finally just said, it's as low as it's going to go. We can't go any lower. And, there was never Robert saying that. I think it was just wardrobe and technical stuff. I mean, they never, ever asked me to be naked, but it went as low as I felt comfortable. And then that was it.
I feel the men in this movie are the eye candy.
Yeah, no, the short shorts are the hottest
eye candy in this movie. It's all about the men.
People naked in Sleepaway Camp are the boys.
Yeah.
That's right.
The only horror movie that's completely exploitative with young naked butts and on boys.
Totally.
Yeah, Felissa, did you remember all the short shorts? We were asking Catherine, but was that memorable for you? You were younger at that point, but did you notice? Was that sort of normal in the era for you?
Well, it was definitely very 80s. That was the style, definitely, for the time. But the only thing I really remember was Ronnie being specifically kind of like buff, and the outfits were tight, and his shorts I felt were really very tiny. So, yes, I definitely thought Paul D'Angelo had the smallest outfits on set.
Oh, yeah.
And it was funny. I thought it was funny.
It was definitely clear that we're even on one of the baseball scenes. Like all the guys had either cutoff shorts or they were just like super super tight shorts. And there's, I think, only 2 nude scenes. Like there was one where the butt.
Yeah, there's the butt. Well, the poor Mozart. We were talking about poor Mozart who gets the butt to his face.
And then, of course, the end scene.
Yeah.
And those are and then all the guys jumping into the lake.
Yeah. The guys are really bad. They're just really not good at getting the girls in this movie. It's just worst guys. They're all so creepy. And then the water snakes will get you.
I mean, I think this just goes to show that women do not like the rapey attitude, because they're so forceful in this movie.
No, it's not good.
And the Mel and Meg relationship is very interesting too.
Yes.
We talked about. I said that was the greatest twist, aside from Angela's twist at the end. It was the Mel and Meg plot line was far more interesting. What was each of your favorite kills as we wrap up here? Did you have a favorite kill when you watched it in the theater?
I always say I like the curling iron and the bow and arrow.
What happens with the curling iron? Do we actually know where it goes?
We need to get to the bottom of this. We do need to get to the bottom of this.
Do you want me to spell it out?
I mean, is that where it's going? I mean, does it just? I mean,
100%.
I just want to know: is it going in the front, the back, or both?
I should take a snapshot of the page and post it on my Instagram.
So he really was assaulting her with the. She was assaulting her with the curling iron.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, that would explain the screams even more. I guess that would be hot and terrible. Yeah. Would that kill someone?
No, I think she was suffocating too because she put the pillow over the face.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right.
And her head, I think.
I don't remember the pillow.
I throw her onto I suffocate her. Then she's thrown onto the floor. Her head hits the wall. I mean, I think there's a lot going on. Sort of.
So you killed her like 4 times.
Really see, but it's insinuating. But the original actress playing that role was Jane Krakowski.
Oh wow!
And what happened was she and her mom read the script, and when they read on the page the curling iron going up the vagina, immediately Jane was out. It was like, no,
Yeah, but
that's too wacky.
they open it though.
Yeah, they don't have. They open it. Yeah, well,
That's what I wanted to get to the bottom of. It's
I just don't know how curling iron works. So, do you have to open it?
No, I don't think you have to. I mean, it depends. Like I said,
it's gross.
I got some images up there.
So that was definitely a good one. The arrow through Mel's neck was really fun. That was a good visual for me. I like that
was
one.
an amazing effect.
And the bees. We got to talk about the bees. I mean, it's just what a weird scene because it's just like, was he allergic to bees? Did Angela know he was allergic to bees? Those were some intense bees.
Those bees chewed some meat.
Well, can we go back to the death of Judy real quick though?
Sure.
With the curling iron, you guys.
You just can't let that go.
No, I gotta know more. So Felissa and Catherine. So do you think it was sense of like, because she was technically like the slut of the camp, was Angela trying to like castrate, right? Yeah, like castrate her, like to where she couldn't, like, that was her punishment, like no more sex for you.
That's an interesting take.
That's a good question. Yeah, it kind of feels like that. If she killed her that way, it kind of feels like there was a meaning to it. She loved her curling iron so much.
She took the boyfriend away.
She took the boyfriend. Yeah. Sorry, Felissa. I know you can't hear. It's hard to hear Catherine, but yeah, she says it seems like that might have been the sort of thing to take away the ability to sort of sleep around and be the slut of the camp is a good take. Is that what you gathered too, Felissa?
With the curling iron?
Yeah, was that sort of like as Mike was suggesting, sort of to castrate her sluttiness?
I think each kill was very specific to the person. Like the pedophile cook, he was burned as ugly on the outside as he was on the inside. I think certainly Judy. I think.
How do you describe the bees?
I mean, I think, if we analyze it, we could definitely come up with something. But I think that they were very creative, and I felt like they also had a little bit of a juvenile take on them. Like, they were all kind of, like, kid-friendly, but they were funny. Bees, a curling iron, a bow and arrow. Like, they were almost a little silly. And they were fun.
I feel like he was buff enough to bust through that door.
Yeah, the bees is such I love the bees just because it's so ridiculous and over the top. And then he's in there for 15 seconds, and he's got literally like nuclear burns on him.
Yeah.
From the bees.
I can't even watch that. I think it's so gross.
That was fun.
It's so gross.
They built the whole floor, and they had the actor on the floor, and they created all of those the latex bubbles and burns with. They had all these wires, and it was amazing. I sat there and watched it. It was just so cool. That's really where like my love for all of it began, when I was sitting there watching that specific scene.
So, all right. Someone asked us in the theater.
What was his character's
Mel?
I mean the actor's name.
I don't remember.
Mike Cullen.
Mike Cullen. That's right. Mike
Okay.
Cullen. So I was going to say from the comments here, someone asked, is Sleepaway Camp better than the first Friday the 13th? But I ask it seriously because it's like, to me, if I'm going to go with the best camp horror movie, I would argue this was the best one. Does anyone want to fight me on that? Does anyone disagree?
Nope.
It really has sort of settled. I think it has a time.
Well,
it's fantastic.
I can't really
that
think
sort
of any
genre.
other ones other than.
I say that it's like depending on what
Off
your
the top
take
of my
is,
head.
because Friday the 13th for me I thought was a little bit more brutal than this, because like visually you remember like the scenes being more graphic in that
I feel
sense.
like it would be the two.
And then this one, I actually love the fact that you see the deaths, but you're not taken away by just how gross or graphic it is. Like they executed everything, and you really don't get that nowadays. Like you get like a death, you see it, and you can visualize how that death is brutal, without having to see all the CGI and the practical effects until afterwards.
Right.
I love all the Fridays, but I feel like it was a more serious movie. Almost.
What, this was more serious?
No,
or?
this was
Sleepaway
more
Camp?
fun.
This is fun, yes.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. It was brutal, but like this was this one's better overall.
A question that I have, because I'm also a huge Friday the 13th fan. I don't think you could really compare them. I mean, they're so different.
Apples and oranges, yeah,
but
absolutely.
Except for the camp and there's a killer. Those are the only two. I feel as though I wonder if Sleepaway Camp didn't have the big twist at the end. would it have the impact and the audience, and would it resonate the way it does because of that shock ending? No, certainly I can't speak about it because I'm so in it. Like, I don't even know what the movie looks like to an audience, because we made it. I'm sure Katherine feels the same way.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I wonder if there was no ending, would it be considered the same?
You only get the ending once, though. Like, that's it. You only get that shock factor once, and there's so much other things you can relive.
Right.
With the rest of it. So I would disagree. I would think it would still hold up.
Yeah, no, I think the ending definitely adds to the creepiness and sort of the pushing it in a way. I think it's, and as someone in the comments that thinks that the twist is better than Jason's mom at the end of Friday the 1. I mean, it's an interesting fight to talk as a horror fight.
Well, the thing is with Friday the 13th and finding out it's Mrs. Voorhees at the end, it's like that's not, to me. I wasn't like, oh my god, it makes kind of perfect sense,
right?
As a revenge kind of thing. But the shocking thing with Angela at the end, I mean, that's like something that burns you, like it's burnt into your brain for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but you see it once. That's like
because
that's
it's
what
just
it is.
so fucked up. That's what I mean. It's so messed up that I think. I don't know. I feel
we could argue that Jason's mom's it was actually a boy, considering it's Tom Savini's hands.
No, that's true. Yeah.
No, but I actually remember watching that end scene and I don't remember them saying, "Oh my God, Angela's the killer." More so that, "Oh my God, she's a boy."
Well, that's
like,
that's
and
the
that's what they
tagline,
leave it at.
That's what it is.
And
yeah,
they don't do that with
crazy.
Jason's mom. It's like it's a female. No,
it's Jason's mom. Yeah,
I do love that ending of they're watching her like decapitating a man, and his first question is, "She's a boy." Head of one of the kids is rolling off, and it's, "She's a boy."
That was one of the other things I want to talk about with Meg's death. With Meg's death was when Mel comes in. He's like, his reactions just.
Not you, Meg.
Not you.
Not you.
Get him.
You. Yeah. It's like, I was gonna get some tonight.
He's really blue-balled. Yes. Paul D'Angelo gets
so
really.
Funny. I listened to everyone speaking about it, and I just have to say, like, it's amazing to me, and I'm certain Katherine feels this way.
Yeah.
That a movie we made, I mean, almost 38 years ago, is still something that we talk about. It's just still incredible to me.
And as an actress, as you guys know, like that's what you want, right? You want a movie that's going to withstand that test of time, that you can say, I was in that, right? And so bravo to both of you, and I'm so happy you guys got to have that. You guys have worked and done their stuff as well, but I mean, clearly this one has made such an impact and helped your careers and your lives, and I'm so happy that you guys embraced it and enjoy it, because some talent out there just sort of gets annoyed by it, and it's just refreshing to see you guys actually embrace the fandom and enjoy it. Mike, you were going to say something.
No, I refer to this as like the Beatles movement. Like, this is their Beatle moment. Like, although the Beatles had solo careers, everyone always thought of them as the Beatle. Like, they were a Beatle. So this is, for them, like, no matter what Katherine or Felissa do, they're always going to be Meg and Angela. Always. And the fact that it's not forgotten, I mean, a lot of people make a lot of movies that they forget about. The fans forget about, a couple years after it's done. So the fact that this has been out for nearly 40 years and it's still a hot topic, is quite a Beatles sensation, in my opinion.
Yeah, lots of good and lots of love in the comments. The Man 3337, great show. Thank you for that support and comment. So thank you both for doing this. Thank you. I mean, I want to, as we wrap, everyone down the line is to end the show. Your favorite line from the movie. There are so many.
So many.
But do either of you, especially on the phone, you guys have any?
Yep.
What's your standout Sleepaway Camp line? You're like, that's the one. Anyone who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Meg's okay. Meg's favorite line. Catherine, go ahead.
I love, if she were any quieter, she'd be dead.
If she's any quieter, she'd be dead. Yep.
What was hers?
If she was any quieter, she'd be dead. Is her favorite line.
That's a great line.
Felissa, if you need more time, Mike, do you have your favorite line?
I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite line, but I love all of Ricky's outbursts. You fucks, you fuck. Like, I swear that's just constantly what he says.
That one, I got something on that one. My theory on that one is the kids on the set, right? And the parents, he's like, I'm acting, Mom, I'm acting, Dad. And it's like, and they're like, okay, you can get away with it this one time. So he tries to get everything in, like, you fuck sucking mother.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I pick up on that.
Yeah, there's so. I mean, I remember a real carpenter's dream, flat as a board and in need of a screw.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just yeah, there's so many. And I like.
For me, it was at the beginning where the boat, the one girl we talked about her. She's like, "Oh my God, the people in the boat! Somebody help the people in the boat! Help the people!" It was like solid 3 minutes.
There's so
I still
many.
like the who is it, Ricky? Who's the guy who's pulling all the buoys out of the lake, and he's like, "These peckerheads suck."
Yeah.
I love him. Oh my gosh, Catherine just bumped into him at an audition.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yes, I just did. He was so lovely. Michael McCann, I think, or
Michael Mason?
No, not Michael Mason.
Isn't it like McCannon or something?
McCannon?
Yeah, like Michael McCann or something like that. Yeah, and he came up to me and he goes, "Sleepaway Camp?" And I looked at him and he's the same face. Same face.
Same face.
And I was like, "Oh my God." I said, "Do you understand what's happened with this movie?" He goes, "No, what's happened?" He had no clue.
Oh wow.
No clue. Yeah.
There you go. You have to connect him to Mike. We have to,
Totally.
But yeah,
Totally.
these peckerheads suck. I just as someone who's worked and been at a camp, I related to just screaming about all the kids in there. Felissa, did you have a favorite line?
How about when Ricky says, "Eat shit and live," Bill?
Yes. Oh man,
That's a good one.
That's a good
That's
one.
I also like, yo, Angela, why are you so fucked up?
I forgot about that. I have to just tell one quick story.
Yes.
I was at a convention.
Yes.
Catherine was with me like a couple of weeks ago, and a little girl, she was 4 years old. She's like, "Hi," and I'm like, "Hi, how are you?" And she's like, "Yeah, Angela." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Hey, Angela, why are you so fucked up?"
That's awesome. That's amazing.
That's when you know it's working, right?
That was crazy.
So you saw that too, Catherine? That's amazing.
Yeah, she came up to me too and said, "Hey, why are you so fucking mean?" or something like that. And I'm like, "Oh my God."
Oh man, I'm trying to find the shop. Anyway, as we wrap up, this has been such a fun. Thank you both for joining and reliving it with us, and for being in such a fun movie and embracing it, all of it. I'm so grateful that you guys came on and you guys still talk about it. Obviously, keep talking about it. It's loved by so many. So thank you all for doing it. Any final thoughts or words or stories to share as I wrap up? We'll start. Catherine, any final words you want to offer?
I just want to say that anyone who hasn't met Felissa Rose is missing something, because she is just incredibly, extraordinarily kind, giving, loving soul
Very
who
true.
will spend time with everybody, and really quite amazing and humble and loving, and just go find her and meet her. She's amazing.
You couldn't hear that, Felissa, but she just said some very nice things about how amazing you are, and everyone should come look to meet you. So that was very nice of her. So thank you for the nice words.
True.
Catherine's probably the nicest person you'll ever meet on the planet.
No, she is.
I can't even tell you how she's like my sister, and I love her, and I'm so thankful that we are back in touch and we get to do these conventions together.
Hell
Thank
yes.
you, Mikey. And we love Mikey. The three of us are incredibly close.
Yeah.
We're family, and it's really nice to have that.
You guys should see our text thread. Like it's basically all of us telling all day long how much we love each other. It's quite amazing.
Oh my God. People should read our text threads. Yeah, they're like, "I love you. My heart is really full," and it's all true. It's like amazing that you could meet. I was just thinking about it tonight. Like, they're my family, and I mean, we have a whole big, beautiful family with Beverly Randolph and Tuesday night, and it's just really nice to have like this big, loving horror family.
It's amazing.
Oh, someone in the chats did. The favorite line I missed was, "Do you have to kiss so wet?"
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Would
Good,
you spit in
John.
my mouth?
How could I forget? How could you kiss so wet? But yes, I love it. Mikey, while they're here, anything you'd like to say? You're a fan. How cool to now have them as friends of such a classic film. What is that like for you?
Life does a complete 180, and never in my life did I think these movies that I watched, I didn't even, like I said, I accidentally watched this one, but continued to watch through school and growing up. I never would, in my life, would have thought that these two women would be a huge part of my life, and they are my family, and I love them the most, and I miss them so much that I'm not going home for 2 months, and I just cried saying goodbye to them, and it's just it's a lot. So
Well, I'm so excited. I'm glad you guys can connect. I cannot wait for this documentary. Angela, it sounds awesome. He's teased it. We will keep you posted here on the channel. Follow. I'll put all the links to everyone's socials down in the comments in the description below. So go support all three of these people. Don, as always, thank you for joining. Josh, you're going to be, and Josh and Mike, you're both at Spooky Empire. If you guys are in Tampa watching, join Spooky Empire this weekend. You'll be some fun people out there. You're doing a Jason Lives panel, yes?
Jason Lives reunion.
Nice. That'll be fun. And then Josh will be doing some tattoos over there, right?
Tattooing, yes.
Yeah, Felissa or Catherine, if you're ever in the Tampa area and you want a free tattoo, I suspect you have a very big fan.
Do not say this to Catherine.
He will hook you up.
I took Catherine.
Free. No, we'll hook you up. We'll take care of you.
I just got Catherine out to do these shows, and like her second show, she disappears. I have no idea where she's at. She comes back with her first tattoo.
Yep.
She disappeared with Felissa. She went and got a tattoo. And I'm like, your husband's going to kill me. Like, you're never going to get to go out to these things. But no, he loved it, and it was amazing, and she loves it, and it's a special thing for her mother, and, you know, so it all worked out.
And I have family in Tampa, so I'll definitely be out there.
Oh, you both are. Sorry.
Right on.
So, Catherine, you're in Tampa. Awesome. Drop me a line when you're in Tampa. We'll connect again. And yeah, check out Josh. He's a great tattoo artist. Anybody in Tampa, go hit him up. His stuff will be online. Anything you wanted to say, Josh, to wrap up, or thoughts of these? You're talking to the stars of Sleepaway Camp. I mean, come on. How cool is this?
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm super hyped. I'm just listening. The stories are great.
It's so fun. I'm a fanboying out.
Find me on Instagram at jbarrettinc and come to Spooky Empire.
Yeah, everybody in Tampa, come out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Don's over at Nerd Tots. Check him out. And then Felissa Rose on Instagram. I'll link. And Catherine, are you on socials as well?
I am.
Great.
Yes,
Give me a link. I'll go ahead, say it.
Yeah. KC in LA is my Instagram. And Katherine Kamhi, my name on Facebook.
Awesome. And then Felissa Rose on Instagram and Twitter. You can look her up, as well as I'll make sure the links are down below for those who aren't following. Thank you guys so much. It's awesome to meet you. Thank you for making such a fantastic film, for being here and talking about it, having fun with us. And everybody have an awesome Halloween. Viewers at home, thank you so much for watching and joining and watching this week. I'll be doing a vote online for next week's movie club. So join the video club. Each week we will put a movie out there for you to have to watch, revisit, relove, and then we'll come back here, rewind with you, talk about it like we did here. So stay tuned for next week's movie. Thanks everybody for watching. Have an awesome Halloween, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.